So I'm going to log in here. And here we go. So I'm logged in, and Advisor Studio has 4 pages to it. There's the dashboard where we landed here. There's the content page, a reports page, and a tools page. So if we look quickly here at the dashboard, sort of the centerpiece here is the What's New section. This is where we would provide articles, stories that are relevant to investor behavior, or maybe cite the QAIB study. It's also where we would give notifications and alerts to new reports that are available here on the platform. So you can see here one where there's a news story, but also telling us that the executive summary of that report is available, and that's right here. So this is the What's New section. We have the featured reports. So we also have a reports page, but these would be, this sort of brings the more important or featured reports to the forefront. I had mentioned a study a few times regarding proactive communication and communication practices. This is an example. We have the executive summary to that report, which is available to all Advisor Studio purchasers. You see, just click on the icon, and they would have access immediately to the executive summary of that report. Right here, when the 2020 Advisor Edition is available, this is where advisors would be able to run that. So for years, advisors would go to the QAIB store, they would purchase the Advisor Edition, they'd have the ability to put their contact information, customize some disclosures, and they would run it. That entire process now will be replicated within this platform. So all subscribers will be able to run their own Advisor Edition, which will be customized, complements of that advisor's name, just as it always was before. I mentioned the 10% discount. We have that here with the code, and also some average investor returns. So this graphic here in the dashboard is updated quarterly. So this is the year-to-date returns as of the end of September. We can see average equity fund investor earned 2.59% so far, year-to-date, the first 3 quarters of 2020. Average asset allocation investor had lost 1.76, and fixed income gained 1.85. So this is the type of data that typically one would have to wait a full year for to get the year-end numbers. Now it's available quarterly throughout the year. So this is the content page. So this is really where our intent is to take the themes, the ideas, the data, and the conversations that can be had around the QAIB report, and sort of curating it, extracting it, and making it more easily digestible, more easily to use in maybe, for example, social media. So this is the content page. And we can sort or filter in different ways. So maybe I want to search for infographics. I'll get the infographics. And then here's a really popular piece that we have, which is Quincy and Caroline. So again, I just simply click on it. If I hover over it, I get an explanation as to what it is, what it can be used for. So I get a sense of what this piece is, but can just click on it, bring it up. And this is an example of the relatable content. So it's something that we call story illustration. So instead of illustrating something through graphs and numbers that the average investor doesn't really understand as well, doesn't retain, it doesn't engage them, you tell it through a story, and that's exactly what we do here. I mean, this is simply a hypothetical illustration of a buy and hold investor to an average investor. And that's all it is. But what we've done is we've brought it to life through characters, through something that is a better conversation piece. And here's an example of that. Some other things are maybe social media. We have some social media pieces here. And this is constantly growing. This is just sort of the bare bones right here. that you're seeing before you right now. But here's an example of one of a very popular or well-known bias, which one did I click on now? I think I clicked on recency bias. So it's just an image that provides a little education to an investor in terms of what that bias is and how it sort of manifests itself in terms of investing in behavioral finance. So here's an example of that. So all of this, which will be added to and will grow on a weekly and monthly basis, it will be available to all subscribers. Then we have the reports tab, and that is, or page, and that's divided into two different tabs. So this is the QAIB reports. So this is where you also see the executive summary that I already brought out that was in the featured reports, but we have some other updated reports here. So this is the Q2 QAIB report that all Advisor Studio subscribers received, and it's sort of just a mini QAIB report that was based off of June 30th, 2020. And then these reports is, so we have the tools tab. One of the tools has the functionality to run a report and memorialize the illustration that was created. And so when those reports are run, they would, this is the repository for those reports. But most of the QAIB-oriented reports, the ones that are not run by the user specifically, will be here under the QAIB reports tab. And then lastly, we have tools. So there's two tools on the platform right now. We have the Return Builder, which is a way of running and requesting average investor returns that may not fit the standardized timeframes that we have in our report. So say you have a model portfolio that's been in place since, let's choose a random date, since sometime in October 1997 is when it started, and you want it for the end of, let's say, the end of 2019, and you want to compare an asset allocation investor. So we'll be able to submit that, and now you see that the average asset allocation investor from October of 1997 to the end of 2019 earned 2.5% per year. If we want to see what it was for equity, then we can certainly, then we can do that as well. My date's changed. And we see the average equity investor earned 5.14% over that time. So this is a great way of being able to be able to make comparisons that may not be a 1, 3, 5, 10 from a year end that you would see in the traditional report. The other tool that we have here is an investor panic relief tool. Recent research that we've done has shown us that investors that receive no proactive recommendation, and what I mean by that is those that received a recommendation to do something, anything else except to do nothing, which we know is in most cases is the most prudent thing to do, but to provide choices, those that got recommendations to invest more or to reallocate, to do something proactive, to feel like they could do something, had greater satisfaction. So what we know is if you can provide options, if you can give the investor a chance to feel like they are somewhat in control, that they have steps that they could take or options they could at least consider, they will be more likely with that perspective to make the right decision. So, but we also did hear a lot of investors wishing that advisors could do more to protect their assets, not necessarily put them in more conservative investments, but protect the assets, using the futures market, using hedging strategies, things of that nature. So this is a way of at least putting that on the table. It just illustrates a hedging strategy using index puts. I can just do a simple illustration for you here. We just calculate it, and what it would show us is if there was I didn't mean to put 90,000. If there was a $900,000 portfolio, it would, to cover that in what we would call portfolio insurance, it would be 31 contracts of the S&P mini index, and that can be changed. It can be any index you want, really. And then it'll just illustrate what would happen in certain market scenarios given that hedge. And as you can see here, if the market declined 20%, they would earn 28,000 because they would have lost but earned 208,000 on the index put. Whereas if the market rose 20%, they would be up 68,000 because they'd be up 20%, but they'd be in the hole or they'd be out the cost of the contract. So very relevant, I think, considering the times that we're in now, and the fact that there's a lot of intrepidation on the fact from investors. So just another tool that can be a great conversation starter or get them thinking about options if they are worried or interested in guaranteeing their portfolio in some way.